If you're working with a seller, you want every real estate agent that's working with a buyer to be able to find your off-market listing as easy and as quickly as possible.
From apartments of great quality to penthouses that will boggle your mind with the price, join me as I show you some of the most expensive homes sold in New York City. 9. Whisper listings.
Pocket listing gives a sense of cachet that it's a hidden and exclusive, but really for realtors, there are some very serious legal obligations they have to keep in mind when taking or contemplating taking a pocket listing.
I know what you're thinking. What the heck is a whisper listing? Well, it's very simple, to be honest with you. In New York and other big cities that are in the world today, not all the homes that you see are for sale, but also not all the homes that you see on listings are all the houses available. Still confused? Basically, if you're rich enough and you know the right people, you can put your home on what is known as a whisper listing, which is a way for a certain amount of people, a certain elite, if you will, to find your home and discuss a deal without this being too public. Illegal? No, hardly, though I can understand why you might say that because it does sound shady, but rather think of it as an exchange in confidence to ensure the quality of a purchase. Like imagine if you were selling a car. If you put it on the local listings, then anyone could come buy it, including someone you know who won't take care of the car that you once drove every day, and that wouldn't feel right, would it? Same thing with these houses. They want to make sure that they can not only get a buyer that'll meet their price, but also meet the standards that are expected of them in terms of taking care of the home. It may sound snooty and egotistical, but even rich people want to make sure that their secondhand items end up in the right person's hands. 8. United Nations Plaza. That costs $70 million.
Our smallest apartment is 1,132 square feet. Our largest apartment is 9,700 square feet. They range in price from $2.2 million to $70 million.
First and foremost, if you're going to have a place called the United Nations Plaza, it better be expensive given the title. And sure enough, this duplex, that's also a penthouse because of course it is all of that and more. This duplex penthouse provides residents with views of the Manhattan skyline, the Chrysler and Empire State Buildings, and the East River via a 2-story bay window. In many ways, this plaza/duplex/penthouse is made upon the views that everyone can see, and it's hard to deny that a view of New York is definitely worth the price when in the right amounts. Plus, you get to say, I live in the United Nations. Well, kind of. Still, that view is spectacular. 7. A $70 million apartment. Found at 157 West 57th Street, this apartment may seem basic, but trust me when I say that it's more than meets the eye. Mainly because this apartment has unique amenities, including a steam room, spa shower, and heated floors. I know a lot of people in very cold states that would love heated floors, even if I'm not exactly sure how that would work. Plus, to have a steam room in an apartment, that must have taken some effort by the construction people to not make it backfire in more ways than one. Maybe that's why it costs $70 million. 6. A $76 million home. Going to an actual home, what a concept. We head to 834 Fifth Avenue. This massive home contains 22 rooms, 7 full bathrooms, and a wine cellar across 12,000 square feet. Now, this is a true home, and one that sort of makes sense for having a $76 million price tag. Then again, I wouldn't want to live in a place with 22 bedrooms, but hey, I'm not rich, am I right? Usually, I would scoff at the luxury of a place like this, but it's hard to deny that there is a certain class and style that is very apparent here. The carpeting, the style of the chairs, the classy bookshelf that you can see in certain pictures of the home, it's all very top-notch, and I would bet that the owners keep a very good watch over the home to make sure it stays in this pristine condition. 5. An $82 million apartment. You know you live in an expensive apartment building when it costs a staggering $9,933 per square foot. This particular apartment was put up for sale at the illustrious 432 Park Avenue, a place where millionaires and billionaires constantly buy and sell the apartments in order to make a home, make bank, and more. In fact, this is a pastime of sorts in New York. With more and more luxury buildings being made, it gives the elite a chance to buy and sell with more bargaining power. New York City's rental market has mostly been steady, except at high end, where the inventory has risen and rents have drifted down, the Federal Reserve said in its most recent Beige Book, based on comments from its contacts in New York. To be rich. 4. An $85 million apartment. Located at 635 West 42nd Street, owners of this apartment, which consists of the entire 45th floor of a condominium complex, receive a staggering number of add-ons. What does that mean? It means that if you get the apartment, you'll also get 2 Rolls-Royce Phantoms, a $1 million yacht, including docking fees for 5 years, dinner at 2 Michelin-star Daniel once a week for a year, courtside seats at Brooklyn Nets games for a year, a Hamptons vacation rental for the summer, a live-in butler for a year, and a private chef. The lucky buyer will also get a $2 million credit towards renovating the condo. I mean, I guess someone could settle for that, especially since the apartment costs $85 million. Have you ever heard of an apartment having add-ons like this? Doesn't that mean that the person who owned this originally really wanted to get out of New York and all the things they had in it? The world may never know, nor may it want to know. I know I don't. Seriously, how do rich people not just get this stuff but then sell it in a way that makes them feel even more rich? 3. A $98 million 5-floor penthouse. If you're looking for the most expensive property that is currently on sale in New York City, that would be Le Penthouse, as it's known by many. This $98 million penthouse in New York City is the most expensive home for sale in the city, according to the listing agent and listing database Trulia, Zillow, and StreetEasy. And not only is it a penthouse/home, it's one that is also a condo that covers 5 floors. You'll find it in Manhattan, and it's only a block away from the legendary Empire State Building. If you're wondering what's in the building as a whole that intrigues the people who live there, that would be a full-time doorman, a spa and gym, a 67-foot lap pool, a jacuzzi, a yoga room, and a lounge complete with a billiards table. There are 67 homes within the place known as 172 Madison Avenue, including the 5-floor condo we just outlined. You almost have to wonder what kind of people would want to have 5 floors of a home to themselves. Would it be someone with a lot of stuff? Or someone who just wants to house all their family and friends and such? There are many different ways to look at it, but in truth, if you own this place, you're going to have a lot of upkeep because 5 floors of stuff isn't something you just let lie. 2. A $100 million penthouse. Tech mogul Michael Dell, founder of the computer company of the same name, paid $100.47 million for the penthouse of Manhattan's 157 Tower in 2018. Clearly, the dude wanted to spend some money, you know? Dell's 6-bedroom, 6-bath residence is currently undergoing a top-to-bottom renovation. Because why not pimp your home when you have the money to do it? The building, known as a super tall skyscraper because it tops out at more than 1,000 feet, is located on one of the city's most desirable strips, dubbed Billionaires Row by realtors. Yet ironically, even now in 2020, now every house in the skyscraper has been bought, which you would think would be a detriment to the place, but it likely just shows that some billionaires don't want to live in a row. Ironically enough, at one time, Dell's purchase was the most expensive home purchase in New York history, but it eventually got beaten out by another purchase we're about to talk about. Seriously though, can you believe that someone spent over $100 million on a home that is just a penthouse? What's wrong with these people? Speaking of that question, who would buy? Number 1, a $238 million penthouse. We've shown you a lot of expensive apartments and penthouses over the course of this list, but let's break down the most expensive one ever sold in New York City. A penthouse overlooking Times Square that is worth $238 million. Why anyone would spend that kind of money on a penthouse is beyond me, But when you're a hedge fund billionaire, I guess you can blow a few $100 million on your place of living. Ken Griffin first signed a contract to buy the penthouse in 2015, which means he was waiting for a long time to get this penthouse because the deal only finalized in 2019. Sitting atop 220 Central Park South, the penthouse is a combination of two apartments comprising of almost 24,000 square feet. But get this, Griffin's purchase breaks the 2014 record for the most expensive U.S. home ever sold when another hedge fund manager, Barry Rosenstein, bought a home in the Hamptons for $137 million. According to the Journal, Griffin's purchase comes close to the most expensive home worldwide. In 2017, a $361 million home sold in one of Hong Kong's priciest neighborhoods. Seriously, can you believe this? Can you believe how much money this guy spent on a penthouse? Not even a regular home, a penthouse, one that I would bet he doesn't even use all that often because of his business affairs. And of course, if he's willing to spend that kind of money just to get the apartment, imagine the kind of money that he spent to deck out the penthouse in his personal style and items. Yeah, he might be pushing $300 million by the time it's all said and done. And that's honestly really sad. Am I right? So what do you think? What do you think of these homes and apartments and penthouses that were sold in New York City? Can you believe the prices on some of them? If you were rich, would you even consider spending that much money on these kinds of homes? Or would you just settle on something a bit more low-key? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.